of years now, and I'm the instructor for this particular Certified Cybercrime Investigator course that you all have inquired about. Okay. Now, let me just start presenting my screen and let me just make you go through the modules that we have. Okay. So here I am with the modules, right? Okay. So I'll just quickly open up the modules also. Oops, just give me a minute. Okay, just a minute. Someone wants to tune in. Yeah. So presenting you the modules for this particular course. So this particular course is known as Certified Cybercrime Investigator by your investigator. Okay. What this course is all about. Basically, we all know that today, whatever crimes they are, we are observing, whether you say they are general crimes, they are digital crimes, right? Each of them are associated with the field of cybersecurity or digital security. Today, even a normal murder, even a normal accident, even a normal marital affair crime is always linked with cyber field, or it's always linked with cyber forensics and cyber crimes, correct? So today, if you see with the increase in the digital era, like you see that as the technologies are coming, the different methods of abusing the technologies and using them in a bad way, adversaries, the threat actors, the criminals are constantly, coming up with various other things to actually harm, whether it's an organization, whether it's an individual, whether it's someone. These days, in fact, if you see, it's not something that hackers are hacking neighbors' Wi-Fi or something. All of the attention have been gone towards intended crime, right? Revengeful crime, right? Or I can say intellectual property crimes, and all those other things have been prime area of focus today, right? So it is a important need to understand how this particular field of crime investigation works. Now, before I go back to the modules and show you what exactly we have in the course content, here the course is known as Certified Cyber Crime Investigator. One thing you need to understand and make yourself clear that this is cyber crime and not cyber forensics. Okay. So basically cyber crime and cyber forensics, they go hand in hand, but they don't mean the same. Okay. Now, when it comes to cyber forensics is a branch of forensic science that deals with collection of the evidence from the technology or from the electronic devices. On the other hand, cyber crime investigation, on the other hand, is an entire process wherein from collection, analysis, and producing and making the evidence admissible, producing in the court of law to prove a particular crime or particular suspect. This is what cyber crime field is known as. The course that you are looking at, or the course where you had applied your interest, is Certified Cyber Crime Investigator. So one thing is for sure, that whatever we have designed in the course, it is not something that is completely related to forensics. This course is not about, you will be given a Windows machine and you have to perform forensic analysis on it and all. No, but what etc. apart from forensic field is included in this particular course of cyber crime. Let us, dig down into the modules now. Okay. So before understanding cyber crime, we always believe that it is important to understand about general crime scenes. Okay. So introduction to crime investigation. So before directly jumping into the digital world or digital evidence world or something like that, the very first module that we have kept is introduction to crime investigation. So what are different types of crime scenarios, different crime investigation approaches, understanding the general crime scenes, like such as murder, accident, all those other things. What are the types of evidences then are involved. So we'll see in the second module that crime scene investigation and evidence fundamentals, that there are, what are the types of crime scenes, what are the crime scene measures, crime scene investigation terms. So who is a first responder, right? Who are actually eligible for performing forensic analysis? What are the different types of evidence, biological evidence, imprint evidence, volatile evidence, latent evidence, right? All these are the different terms that we are going to look at in the terms of evidence fundamentals. These two initial modules we have kept according to the general crime scene to just build up a base that how the crime investigation field is working. What exactly do we mean by a crime? How the crime scenes are actually seen in perspective of all these other things, right? That's the reason we have included a general crime investigation approach in the very first two modules. Third module is all about evidence collection and preservation, where we talk about not only general crime scene evidence preservation, but we also talk about digital evidence. From the third module, our actual area of interest goes to the digital evidence modules. So what is general crime evidence and collection preservation in terms of general evidences that we find in general crime scenes, such as what are the measures taken while you can say collecting and preserving blood as a evidence, right? What are the other set of what are the, you can say, keynotes taken up while collecting hair sample as an evidence, for example? Like that general crime scene will look at evidence collection and preservation. Then we go into handling of digital evidences, digital evidence frameworks. What is the admissibility of digital evidence? Understanding the COC, chain of custody. Apart from the chain of custody, understanding the other documents that are pertaining to digital evidences, right? Maybe it could be a software checklist, or maybe it could be a router checklist, or maybe it could be a the digital evidence crime scene checklist. Then we are looking at the section 65B and the admissibility of evidence under the section 65B certificate. Okay, now this is something which is only in regards to the geographical area of India, okay, only in regards to India, right? But yet being, you can say, maximum of the people coming from the country India, right? So we have included this point, that how the section 65B is playing a role in the admissibility of the digital evidence in the court of law, right? So how this digital evidence is getting admissible in the court of law under the section 65B of the Indian Evidence Act. Okay, then we have involvement of digital evidence in the general crime scene, wherein we are going to look at two case studies, wherein both of the case studies will be murder. Okay, so there is a murder happened in both of the case studies, and you are supposed to analyze as a cyber crime investigator that how this particular murder case, this is a general crime scene case, how this could have been solved using cyber technologies, or you can say using cyber methodologies. This is what we have to understand in this particular module. Then the next module is investigation techniques, rules and limitations. So what are the rules and duties in terms of cyber for the law enforcement agencies? What are the rules and duties of private investigators? Now, to be honest over here, this is crime investigation course. A lot of things, you can say a lot of things are actually in the hands of law enforcement agencies, right? A lot of things, a lot of powers, a lot of responsibilities, and a lot of privileges are with the law enforcement agencies. Keeping the practical things aside, we are discussing the things that they are doing in a form of technical theory, and all the things that we are focusing in this particular course, mainly it will be in regards with private investigators. Okay, so what are the rules and duties of private investigators? Then what do you think, cyber crime investigators or cyber forensic analyst? This is a very narrow gap in everyone's mind, that both are the same, but not at all. So what are the differences over there? Then limitations and investigation confidentiality in terms of law enforcement agencies, and the same thing in terms of cyber investigators, right? Then technical abilities and involvement. So which are the maximum cases where law enforcement agencies are involved into, or which are the maximum of the cases where people or the audience consider private investigators, right? Then we will also going to study how law enforcement actually you can say bring up the information from various aspects, whatever is regarding to the case, using information retrieval method under the Code of Criminal Procedure, CRPC 91. Okay, so section 91 under CRPC Act will actually tell us that how information retrieval is done by law enforcement agencies, right? For retrieving the information, for assisting it as an evidence in any of the crime scene. Then we look at, till now we saw all things about crime and crime scenes and digital evidences. So the next module is about crime investigation information management. So what are the key points that you should adhere to for information management? So it's not something that you go up to a crime scene, you collect the evidence, you store the evidence, and that's all. And at the end, you can say a bucket full of other things, and you're not sure where is what and how to do it, all those things, right? So this particular module is focused on how to manage the information management. So in a field like cyber forensics or in a field like cyber crime, information management is a very, you can say, important and a crucial part, because that is what shows you that how a keen private investigator you are. So tomorrow, if you work as a private investigator somewhere, even if you are not able to crack up a case, no worries at all. Your information management skills will actually, allow others to judge you on the relevance that what you have done, right? Then what are the documentation and policies? What do you mean by case management, and some of the sample form that we will be showing you and sharing with you. And from here onwards, you can say from this particular modules, intelligence gather and analysis, our maximum of the practicals are starting. Yeah, before that also there are a few practicals, but the main practicals you can say are starting from this particular module, that is intelligence gathering and analysis. So how do you do multi-level analysis from government websites and systems, analysis on emails and mobile numbers, accessing the unlisted call detail record from mobile systems, various methods which actually an adversary is using, but the same methods are used by investigators at times to retrieve the geolocation and IP addresses. Then sources of digital evidence. So it's kind of a checklist given to you in the form of sources of digital evidence. So we will be sharing you a checklist where you can say that so many devices are listed, and you can see that these information can be retrieved in the form of a digital evidence from these devices. Then some of the active tracking and passive tracking methodologies, wherein active tracking lies under the law enforcement agencies and passive lies under the private investigators. Right? Then we are also going to understand about general cyber law understanding. Now you have to understand that this particular topic or this particular course that you are looking at, it's a techno-legal field, correct? Techno-legal, what does it mean? That it doesn't only involve technology such as cyber security. Techno-legal in the sense it also has legal laws, regulations and legalities. So you have to maintain technical aspects and also the legal aspects. For this reason, we have to understand a bit about cyber laws and cyber crimes and other things, right? Now this particular module that we have in this course, it is not at all focusing on a specific geographical, area about cyber laws. Now, to be very honest, I know it's a reality. I mean, you can just correlate to it. Imagine if we start talking about all the cyber laws that are present under the IT Act, right, in the course itself. Probably we have to launch a separate course on, cyber laws then, right? Because it's a so vast and deep concept. So what we have done is, instead of, adding various cyber laws of various geographical regions, right? Because we are not learning about cyber laws over here. Our main focus is cyber crime investigation. So what we have done is we have included you can say the general cyber law aspects, the global cyber law aspects, such as what was the traditional crime approach, what is the modern crime approach, how these things have came up, how these things have evolved, with the course of time. Then group of 7, G7, FATF, International Cybercrime Convention. So there is Budapest Convention and all those other things, right? Then we will compare UK's and India's cyber approaches. So what are the UK cyber, legislatives and India cyber legislatives, comparing it with together to get a better understanding of laws and regulations, right? Now, why only UK and India? Let me answer that question. Because if you observe the constitution of UK and India closely, you will find a lot of similarities has been there. So India's constitution is inspired a lot by UK's constitution, right? That's the reason we'll be comparing these two. Then the next practical that we have on our list is RAM acquisition and analysis. So introduction to volatile evidence, basic RAM functioning. And I know, see what I'm telling, this course is not a, we can say, entire forensic oriented course, where cyber forensics is a part, right? Still, because they things, they go hand in hand, we have included a bit of cyber forensics. You can say a taste of cyber forensics to this particular course itself. So for that, we have RAM acquisition and analysis. So basic RAM functioning, advantages of memory analysis, limitations faced while analyzing the memory, acquisition of memory image using free tools. Then we are going to do a lot of exercises using volatility framework, RAM analysis practical use cases, and memory analysis using cyber triage tool as a reference will be shared with you, right? Then we have social media and open source intelligence, OSINT. So how this is something in general at the very first glance is social media crime in general. Then how social media changed the way people commit crime. So a bit of, you can say, criminal psychology is also included over here. How law enforcement agencies investigate into these kind of matters. What is OSINT? Why it is important, and types of OSINT or types of open source intel techniques, right? Then we will gradually go into website OSINT. So how do you conduct OSINT on websites? So basic web OSINT, Wayback Machine, tracking sites via analytics ID, unified OSINT tools, Whois information, semi-passive OSINT methods, some Linux tools, right? Automations and all those other things have been included. Using Google for OSINT. So Google search techniques and Google Docs, forget password method, retrieving the YouTube metadata, automated tools for Google OSINT. We next have social media OSINT techniques. So grabbing the Facebook IDs, Facebook searching tools and techniques, Twitter searching tools and techniques, Twitter analytics, Instagram OSINT, Instagram tools and techniques for OSINT, username enumeration, how OSINT, how the data breach, have I been pawned, how it could help you in terms of investigations, right? Reverse image search technique, operating systems for OSINT. We are going to have a look at, two famous operating systems for OSINT. Then the next module we have is privacy issues and private content removal. So what are privacy issues? What is private content? How removal of privacy related issues from Google, Bing, you can say from the search engines, from removal of explicit photos or contents from websites, blogs and all, harassment and bullying content, reporting things for that. Then international regulatory compliance for privacy. Okay, so here we are going to discuss the privacy, you can say a bit of privacy about India, and what we are going to do over here is in international regulatory compliance is to actually compare GDPR, okay, Europe's GDPR with India's PDB bill, right? So the PDB bill of India is yet to come, like it's just in the form of a bill. But probably by the end of this year or till the next year, India's personal data protection bill, it will be enacted as an act. So we will compare Europe's GDPR with India's PDB bill for getting a better insight in privacy, right? And law enforcement, how they function in the terms of privacy issues. Then the next module we have, now this is something, this financial frauds, banking frauds and all, they are completely in terms of law enforcement agencies only, because they have the authorities and the power. Yet we will discuss a few things that how do they kind of function in terms of financial fraud cases. So we'll discuss about card cloning fraud cases, so relevant information and evidences in terms of financial frauds. When financial fraud information, how do the law enforcement use the CRPC information retrieval for financial frauds. Then artifacts that you can analyze from card reader devices, digital wallet fraud analysis, common technique for e-wallet fraud, and information chaining based on the e-wallet informations, right? Some of the use cases for crime investigations that we will be discussing, it will be SIM card cloning cases, identity theft cases, missing person, no evidence case, other cyber related case examples, and at the end, you are going to perform a cyber profiling exercise. It will be a form of an assignment for you all, right? And the conclusion will be checklist to assist in investigations. So apart from what all I have been teaching, what we are going to do is we are going to share with you. If I just open this, okay, if I just show checklist. So you can see there are a lot of checklists that we have. So crime scene checklist for evidences. Then we have investigation resources. We have a lot of checklist. See, so these all checklist and the content and whatever we find useful for you, we'll be sharing with you this checklist also, right? And at the end of the course, we can just give you a basic idea that how we can work up as a freelance in cyber investigation as a PI, and also help the law enforcement agencies or individually, to in the field of cyber crime investigations, right? So from the content perspective, this is what all is present in the course, right? If any one of you don't have this particular PDF for the course content, do let me know. I'll be happy to share it with you. Okay. And I don't think so from content perspective, there is some hesitations because the way, the content has been designed and segregated. I do believe and you can say, I just assume that you all people, are, you can say, fascinated, or you can say are influenced by the content that is being present in the course. Now, apart from the content, if I just talk about what are the general things that why to choose your investigator, why to choose training with us basically, right? So we have certified and experienced instructors. You can go up and check on my LinkedIn profile. In fact, I'll be happy to be in our connection list, right? We have post-training support. So even after the training, if you are having some issues or difficulties, we will be there with you. Tailor mode training. And what do you mean by this tailor mode training? Okay. A tailor mode training, it means that apart from the live classes, so these are the live classes that we are focusing upon. Okay. Our company is based on the live classes. Apart from the live classes, we also give you access to all the notes, reference links, materials and all via a platform called as Edmodo. If I just demonstrate Edmodo, it is similar to Google Classroom. Okay. Wherein once you get enrolled into the course, you will be given access to this platform called as Edmodo, where you will be able to find all the notes according to the modules and all those other things, right? Segregated, and each and everything is being presented over here in Edmodo. Apart from that, after completion of every 2 to 3 modules, we take a small MCQ assignment test and all, right? So after completion of every 2 to 3 modules, we do a kind of an assessment test and all. At the end of the course, there will be a big self-assessment test having somewhat around 50, 60, 80 MCQs or something, which you are supposed to give at the end of the course. So all the questions and all the topics from the entire course will be covered at the end as a self-assessment test. Once you clear that self-assessment test, you will unlock your certificate that will be given by your investigator. Okay. So this is how this particular tailor mode training works, right? Then we have flexible schedule. So it means that most of the classes of us are in the evening time, like, so that not everyone's schedule has been hampered. And after enrolling into the training, if there is some kind of valid excuses to some extent, see, all the sessions are not recorded basically, but to some extent, in fact, if for some valid reason you are not able to attend a particular class, no worries on that. At times, number one, if you miss out a class, we take the class live again for you. Or number two, we can give you access to the sessions that you have missed, right? This is what it is all about. Okay. Now, before I move on to the fee structure and the batch start dates and the timings, right? Anyone from the audience, any doubts? Let me just, see in the chat also. Okay, I'll share you the PDF with you, Amit sir. No worries on that. Okay, it's okay even if I share you on WhatsApp. So anyone from the content perspective, any doubts? Anyone? Okay. So quickly glancing through once again. So introduction to crime investigation, evidence fundamentals, evidence preservation and collection, roles and limitations for PI and police, then information management for crime scenes, intelligence, intel analysis, basic general global understanding of cyber laws, RAM acquisition and analysis, OSINT, social media intel and OSINT, web OSINT, Google for OSINT, social media platforms for OSINT, privacy issues and private content removal, financial fraud case scenarios, use cases for crime investigation, and the conclusion, right? This is how the module has been designed. So anyone any doubt so far? Or shall I proceed with the batch date and the timings and all? Do you have a similar sessions for forensic course? Yes, we do also train people for cyber forensics, but probably the cyber forensics training, it will start from the next month onwards. from the month of May. Right. So as of now, depending upon the inquiries and depending upon the interest, we are actually looking at cybercrime investigation, and probably within a month or two, we will start off with forensics also. So we will be having a lot of forensic courses such as Windows forensics, Linux forensics, and all digital forensics. But as of now, it's not yet onboarded onto our platforms. It's not onboarded onto our modules, right? So we are focusing as of now on certified cybercrime investigator. Right. So anyone, any more doubts so far? Okay. If there are no doubts, let me then proceed with, you can say, the batch start date, the fee structures and the timings and all, right? So let me just open up my notepad. Just open Word. Yeah, so the fees for the course is INR 10,000 if I'm talking about India and Indian students. Overseas or outside India, it is 150 US dollars. Okay. The duration of the course, it's 30 to 35 days maximum. I'm saying it can be concluded before that also, right? So duration is 30 to 35 days, right? The upcoming batch details. So if I just talk about the upcoming batch, so we have a batch starting from 19th of April. Okay, exactly after a week, you can just presume, right? So 19th of April, we have a batch starting. Sorry, 19th of April. It's a weekday batch. Weekday in the sense, classes will be from Monday to Friday. Timings are 10:30 p.m. IST to 11:30 p.m. IST, right? So 10:30 in the evening Indian Standard Time to 11:30, 1 hour each, Monday to Friday. It's a weekday batch, right? So in this, whatever things that are present in the course content, as it is, they will be done. And apart from that, the checklist and the other things and all, that all, and the tailor mode training, that all we have promised will be included, right? So this is the fee structure. For Indian students and for outside India, it's 150 US dollars. The duration is 30 to 35 days maximum. I'm saying we can even conclude before that. Upcoming batch, it is scheduled from 19th of April. If I just write the day, it is Monday itself, right? It's a weekday batch. It means the classes will be held from Monday to Friday. The timings are 10:30 p.m. IST to 11:30 p.m. IST. Okay, these are the fee structures, right? I probably assume that you all have my number, right? Even if you don't have my number, let me know. I'll just share on the chat also. Also, if you want this particular course module for your own reference, or for someone to share it as a brochure, please feel free to ask me. I'll be happy in sharing the course module with you. Okay. This is how the batches has been done. So anyone, any doubts? Any doubts so far? Okay, I think so. No, if anyone has any doubts, even after the demo, please feel free to message me on WhatsApp. Okay, thank you so much. And then if there are no doubts, I'm looking forward to conclude this particular demo session, right? Once again, thanks a lot for joining this particular demo. I hope you enjoy the way we presented, and you are actually influenced by the particular course. Looking forward for your active enrollments, right? Expecting everyone to be, you can say, in the upcoming batch from 90. Okay. See you in the upcoming batch. Thanks a lot for joining. Please share the course module on WhatsApp. Sure. I'll send the course module to everyone once again, right? So I was the one who had messaged you basically for the demo, and again troubled you for the reminder. Okay. And I'll again message you the PDF of the course module. Okay. Thanks a lot everyone for joining. Looking forward for your active enrollments in the course. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.